All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a magnifying glass to the action thriller Shelter 2026. We aren't just looking at the plot, though. We're going to completely dissect its incredible tactical realism, the complex MI6 conspiracy at its core, and what the story fundamentally teaches us about survival, betrayal, and the inescapable consequences of our past. It's a wild ride, so let's get into it. Picture this. We're dropping straight into the climax of the story. The sheer tension of this moment is absolutely off the charts. Our protagonist, Michael, who is a former elite MI6 operative, has just cornered his corrupt ex-boss, Steven, in a room completely littered with illuminated bodyguards. Steven is literally begging for his life. But Michael, he just drops this cold-blooded line. He's letting the man know that every action has a reaction, and those past consequences, they've finally caught up. It's such a brilliant character moment because it establishes Michael not just as a lethal killer, but as a guy driven by a deeply personal, unbreakable code of justice.
Section 1. A deadly reunion.
Section 2. A new responsibility.
So how exactly did we get to that explosive standoff? Well, we gotta rewind a bit. Michael's been living this very quiet, completely off-the-grid life in a remote lighthouse. But that's all shattered when a brutal storm claims his friend's life. By pulling his friend's niece, Jessie, from the wreckage, Michael transitions in an instant from a ghost hiding from the world into a dedicated protector. But of course, this new role forces him out of hiding. While making a super risky trip into town to get Jessie's medical supplies, Michael actually does everything right by his training. He dodges the security cameras perfectly, but he makes one tiny, fatal mistake. He's caught in the background of a civilian's casual video call. It perfectly illustrates a terrifying reality of our modern world, right? No matter how meticulously you erase your digital footprint, the sheer volume of everyday technology around us makes true invisibility almost impossible. That split-second and background footage is all it takes to instantly trigger MI6's facial recognition alarms.
Section 3. The Lighthouse Siege.
Now that he's flagged in the global system as a high-level threat, Michael's isolated sanctuary is violently breached. A heavily armed Alpha team descends on the lighthouse under the cover of darkness. But listen, this sequence isn't just your standard action set piece. It highlights an absolutely crucial survival tactic: environmental weaponization. Michael knows he can't match their massive firepower directly, so what does he do? He uses the lighthouse itself against them in a literal masterclass of asymmetrical warfare. He methodically cuts a rope to drop a massive boulder right on the attackers. Then he surges the main power to instantly blind their night vision goggles and systematically eliminates them from the shadows using incredibly simple improvised tools. We're talking an oil lamp and a flare gun. It just proves that acute awareness of your surroundings will often beat raw firepower any day of the week. Let's zoom out to the macro level for a second and look at the larger power struggle at play here. A massive internal conspiracy has completely fractured MI6, pitting institutional integrity against deeply entrenched corruption. On one side, you have the current boss. She realizes Michael's profile was maliciously altered to frame him as a terrorist. She genuinely seeks the truth and wants him captured alive so she can unravel the mystery. But opposing her is Steven, the former boss. Desperate to hide his corrupt past, he secretly hijacks the MI6 communications to issue a direct, highly illegal order for Michael's immediate assassination. It's a fascinating, honestly kind of scary look at how bureaucratic systems can be weaponized from within.
Section 4. No place to hide.
With Steven pulling the strings and actively overriding official orders, Michael and Jessie are forced on the run. And this escalating pursuit, it is a brilliant study in how a tightening noose forces a protagonist's hand. It starts with the underlying, creeping paranoia of simply being spotted on a street camera. Then, the tension ratchets up into a hostage situation in a civilian home, literally just to get medical stitches for Jessie. And that rapidly devolves into a desperate shootout with local police who legitimately think they're hunting a terrorist. This relentless escalation culminates in an explosive chase where Michael's hijacked Volvo absorbs punishing, relentless ramming from a rogue agent. You really feel the claustrophobia as a viewer here. Every single safe haven immediately becomes a trap. Meanwhile, back at headquarters, the current boss finally uncovers the truth buried in some old files, bringing us to the actual thematic core of the story. 10 years ago, Michael went rogue for one very specific reason. He spared an Iranian scientist who peacefully surrendered nuclear plans. By letting that man live, Michael directly defied Steven's bloodthirsty agenda. The deep irony here is fantastic, isn't it? Michael isn't being hunted because he's some monster. He's being hunted because he showed mercy. Steven desperately needs Michael dead because Michael is the living, breathing proof of Steven's own past war crimes. So, cornered at a cancer-stricken friend's safe house, Michael is forced into a brutal fight that really highlights his terrifying adaptability. When you compare their arsenals, the mismatch is almost comical, yet intensely realistic for an operative caught entirely off guard. The rogue agent bursts in heavily armed with a firearm and a combat knife. Michael, on the other hand, is defending himself using a literal spoon, a chair, and a wooden plank. And yet he manages to hold off this heavily armed agent in close quarters just long enough for Jesse to bravely step in with a gun, securing their incredibly narrow escape. It's a stark reminder that a weapon is ultimately only as good as the mind wielding it. Section 5. Settling the score. Realizing they're never going to be safe as long as Steven breathes, Michael finally goes on the offensive. He shifts the dynamic entirely, from the hunted to the hunter. And his strategy here is so bold. He intentionally exposes his location at a loud, packed nightclub. Now, why a nightclub? It's a tactical use of chaos and public space to level the playing field against a superior force. He strikes a deal with a former associate to secure a passport and a safe boat passage out of London for Jessie. Once she's on her way, he stays behind to decimate Steven's hit squad right on the dance floor. He brilliantly utilizes the noise, the broken glass, and the sheer confusion of the crowd to systematically dismantle the kill team. After successfully getting Jesse onto an escape boat at the harbor, Michael faces the relentless rogue agent one last time. What makes this scene really stand out is the exhausting, heavy-hitting reality of the fight. This isn't some glossy superhero movie where the protagonist effortlessly brushes off punches. No, you can see the severe physical toll of days on the run. It's a gritty, grueling fight for survival, where Michael finally ends the pursuit by utilizing his surroundings one last time, delivering a fatal blow with a metal pipe and a heavy chain. And that brings us right back full circle to our opening scene, where Michael stands victorious over his corrupt former boss. It requires just one single bullet to execute Steven. One shot to finally close a 10-year loop of betrayal, corruption, and running. It's a quiet, definitive end to the immediate threat. But this explainer doesn't quite end there. Jump forward 3 months later to Rome. Jessie is attempting to live a normal life, but she's heavily surveilled by MI6 agents who are still frantically trying to track down Michael. Suddenly, a mysterious paper bag is delivered to her. She looks inside, and there it is, Michael's signature chess piece. She smiles, knowing he is out there, watching over her. It leaves us with a seriously thrilling question to chew on. When you eliminate the architect of your misery, but the corrupted system itself still remains, what is a master tactician's next move? Does he stay quietly in the shadows, or does he take on the system itself? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Hello Hollywood movies story lovers, please thank you for watching for video, and please subscribe and support for me. Hey YouTube, not this mass content, is my content. I am activity short activities and long movies stories. Thank you for guys watching for movie stories.